Here we have a European spruce, also called Norway spruce, Picea Abies, that belongs to Lukas Sirotny, who is here, and who is going to do this together with Andrija Zokic. They sort of do it together, but since the tree is owned by Lukas, he has a last say in case there's a dispute. So anyway, you have some history. Tell us about this tree. How did you get it?
Okay, so this tree was collected 6 or 7 years ago in Italy, and I made a trade with Mauro Stemberger as a very raw material, unstyled, unrepotted. First we put it into the ceramic pot to inspect the roots. So it was like 4 years ago. We realized that this big root is dead, so now we need to incorporate it into the composition. 2 or 3 years ago we made some very rough styling with very thick wires. We just put some movement into the continuation of the trunk and some main branches. And now it's the time to make the second styling that will refine the tree.
You don't have to do a bonsai in one afternoon. That's only what you do in a demo. Demo isn't real life. In real life, the spread is over several years, especially with the spruce, because spruces are a tricky tree. They are not like deciduous trees. You know, you can easily kill one. When it's stable, it's very stable. But if you repot it after you have styled it and this sort of silly thing, they will die. So anyway, it's all there. What's your plan?
So this tree is super healthy. We didn't cut anything or pinch anything last year to prepare it for next styling. This is not a classical looking tree. It won't fit into some Moyogi category or something. It would rather be styled into some naturalistic way, so in so-called candelabra. We have 3 trunks which are now of the same height, more or less. So we thought and we spoke that we would need to make some diversity in this regard, and we will try to enhance the best features of the tree, which is this deadwood, the movement of the trunk, and we should reduce the foliage mass to make it look like a bigger tree in nature, not a bonsai.
I now play devil's advocate. 30 years ago, when I was still working in orthodox Japanese bonsai style, I would say, sorry, but this is sort of second-class material. This is why you got it for cheap, because that is not good for good styling. Why? Because it has a nice trunk here, but it hasn't too much taper, and then it has this huge bulge, which is ugly. And then the worst thing is, it now splits into these 3 branches, and that, of course, is absolutely not what we want. So you must choose which one you keep, meaning you must take off 2 of them, and then you have a single trunk. I can already tell you it's not going to be very good. Why? Because this thick trunk will then go into a very thin one, and that will take 100 years before that looks good. So this is why this tree was sort of almost worthless. That I would have said 35 years ago. Now, your answer.
But now, when we look at the trees up in the mountains, we can see and we can get some images of these very beaten trees, and we can recreate them in bonsai. So this limitation now is advantage. We are not fear of this anymore.
Okay, technically I would say, now we say this is the main trunk, the primary trunk, and that splits into secondary trunks. These are not branches. The only thing that I totally agree with you is you should make one higher, the highest, and the others lower and not the same height, in order to make a clear difference. Because that usually looks good. And while at the moment this is the middle one, it does not necessarily have to be the middle one, but it's totally up to you. And the next thing is, most beginners would actually look at this as a front, because this is how this spreads. That's not a good idea. you should look at it from the side or from the other side. This side is understand, not this obvious thing. Do this or this. Big mistake always done by beginners. Now we have an idea. Wonderful words. Yeah. But what can you tell the people who are not so much into bonsai? Now, how do you start? What do you do now?
So we will start with the small things, yes, step by step. We are not now deciding about cutting radically one trunk off, for example. Yeah, but we will start searching for some more superficial roots. We will start with doing the deadwood job, refining. Then we will start with reducing the tertiary and secondary branches, and then when it's all more obvious, more clean, we will look at it once again and decide what the design will be.
Okay, so the trick is, if you don't know what to do, you just start working.
Yeah.
Do something which is always necessary.
So we made almost all the deadwood work here. We edited some jeans, we added charis to make it appear older. Also we removed like maybe 30-40% of the original foliage, maybe more. And now we are ready for the wiring, and then we will go into the details more.
So those branches which are here, they all stay and just be wired into...
Yeah, we have some doubts about some sections, but I think that like 80% of this foliage and branches will be kept.
Okay.
Yeah?
So this root is done. It's shortened.
Yeah,
there is some other root connecting
shortened,
to the...
and there is a smaller root that
which is
alive.
feeding it.
Yeah, which is feeding. So it's nice. Yeah, nice feature, I think. Yeah.
You will be burning it, or it's too risky.
Yeah, we can make it because it was all dead. Yeah.
So you try to make it a little bit older with fire.
The blowtorch. Yeah, but we don't have it now, so we will do it at home then later. Okay. Yeah. So it's not that necessary. Yeah. Now.
This trunk is shortened, this is jean.
Yes.
So this is final height, so they are not in the same height.
Yeah, this should be the final height, and we will pull it downwards, to make it the smallest of the three trunks, so to have some variations and dynamics. Yeah, and we also this way we removed the crossing of these two trunks. Yeah, so now it's crossing anyway, but the jean and the trunk now it's not that not that visible. Yeah, not that distracting. Yeah.
And you clean those jeans down there. So those which are there are staying here?
Yeah, probably we can. We can make some final touches later, but we shortened some. Yeah, or removed entirely and added some new. Yeah. Okay, so we are almost finished with the spruce. We are wiring the last thin branches and setting the pads. We removed, I think, 60 or 70% of the foliage. So
is it safe for spruce at the time?
Now is the best time, I think, for wiring the spruce. Yeah, now
and for removal so much of foliage.
Yeah, now for elongating species like spruce or larch, this is the best time. However, normally you are so very busy with reporting that you don't have time to do this. So it's a good opportunity now to see how the tree reacts. Yeah, now is a good time, or the end of summer is also preferable. Yeah.
Some more work on deadwood, some finishing touches here.
Yeah, we will. Maybe we won't paint it with gin liquid or anything. Yeah, we will
let it mature.
A little mature, because we also
You want to extend it?
Yeah, we widened the sherry, so we
already extended.
It's extended, but it needs to dry first. It's not a good idea to put a gin liquid directly into the live tissue, you know.
So you are not going to wire very fine things, very fine branchlets.
No,
you decided?
With spruces it's a good idea to be more delicate with these fine twigs. Yeah. So because if you wire everything, you damage these soft needles, and then you experience the fall down. Yeah.
So they will fall down.
Yeah.
This branchlet will become more.
Yeah, weaker and weaker.
Weaker and weaker.
Yeah. And then it can eventually die. So it's a good idea to be
and at certain point, not to go into
green. Then you just style it with pruning. Yeah, okay. It's much better to use the buds in the right direction.
Are you eventually hoping for some kind of back budding here or new branches?
We have some promising back buds here, so this will make the future pads, and then
so it will be more denser here.
Yeah, eventually we will shorten these and make better structure with these small branchlets now. Yeah,
but it will take time with the spruce.
Yeah,
have to do something, then wait.
Yeah,
for a period of time.
For example,
recover from the major work.
Yes,
and then continue, remove the wire, and repeat this procedure every.
Yes.
Let's say 2-3 years.
Yes. Well, now it wouldn't be safe and good idea to repot it, even if this is not a good pot, obviously, because it will be almost a certain death for the tree. So if we make some detail styling, then we will wait another season, and next spring we can proceed to the repotting. Yeah. Also, if we make some heavy bends, then we don't do any detail styling later. Yeah. It's good to
pace it.
Yeah, to pace it.
Divide this work into more stages.
Yes.
So the spruce as a species don't like to be overworked.
Yeah.
So it will.
Or if you do some extensive shari, don't touch anything else. Yeah.
All right, Lukas and Andrija. Interesting. So you worked all day on this, and it looks pretty much finished. Can you speak about it? What you did and where you found something difficult?
Main structure was already set by the first styling, but now it was the task to make it more refined, more structured. We removed a lot of foliage. We left maybe 30-40%. But even now we discussed the possibility of removing some branches or shortening them in the future. But for the sake of the health of the tree, we left something, just as assurance. Yeah. So this is not and it doesn't fit into any traditional style. It has many subtrunks, many subcrowns, more apexes. It's not like the flat pad. So the goal is to be more of the image of an old mountain tree.
Okay. So the difficulty was to play with the 3 trunks.
Yes.
This is the main trunk, these are sub-trunks. These are not branches, these are trunks. To play with them so that they go together, but that clearly one is the dominating one and the others are secondary. So you made some shorter and some much shorter here, but he is still, or she, whatever, is dominating this thing. You obviously put the head to the right, which means the tree has this tendency to go to the right, but then you tilted it so it was not too much hanging over. I think the tilting made a big difference. Then you did these shari to create some more interest. Of course, these are newly done and look obvious. They need some patina, and that takes 2 or 3 years, and then they will look perfect like this here. Okay, so here was a big ugly root, which you did very well. This will look very natural very soon. When I sat here, a guy came up to me and said, "Oh, I don't want to insult you, but Mr. Pall, this is not natural. They should be more vertical. In nature, they would be more vertical." Like telling me, since I do the naturalistic style, I should know that nature doesn't do that. I said, "Do you know that it's not called natural style? It's called naturalistic because it is not natural." Okay, so thank you very much for finding out. Yeah. It has to be realistic, and realistic it is. I think it was necessary to have these branches, which are a bit more out than they would be in nature, in order to play with these trunks. Anyway, it's our feeling, it's your feeling. As you know, I am one of these masters who lets the students do what they like. Even sometimes if I would not do that, I still let you do it. And sometimes I stop them, but very rarely. Anyway, I had no problem at all with this not being natural because I think it's very, very nice. I'm very happy with this tree. Of course, this is still second step. First step was two or 3 years ago. This is second step. Now, if somebody would say that, well, this is not quite finished. No, it's not quite finished. It will be finished in 10 years. Okay, so did you think that every tree, bonsai tree, has to be worked in one afternoon like in demos? That's a demo, but in real life it takes many, many years. But we are on a very good way. So do you have some feelings, because you are worldwide known as a big master? However, you don't have too much exposure to conifers.
Well, I don't have so much experience with conifers. Mostly when I work on the master class in the Lukas place and in the Munich in Walter's place. So, but then I learned something about mugo pines, spruces, and silvestris, and I can say that I really enjoyed to work on them. We have much more. All these branches are much softer, and in one day you can make really the tree really start to look great, which is not easy with the broadleaves. And this one, I think it's really great tree. There is much character in this tree, and it's a dynamic tree with these 3 trunks.
This spruce was.
I think it would be great later on some rock on the slab, like many of Walter's trees, spruces and Piceas, that looks really great on the slab.
I just wanted to add that this material was almost discarded as a very ugly one, very unuseful. So it's
very often ugly trees on the end
were very cheap, material. Yes.
Okay, so how do you see? Do you see a slab or a pot?
Yes. This pot is training, of course, so much shallower and wider pot. Should be the first option, or an artificial slab, which would go very well with this naturalistic design.
Okay, so you left, although you did cut off quite a lot, but you still left enough green for the tree to be happy.
Yeah.
Spruce don't like it too much if you totally strip them of foliage, but they are better than junipers. Junipers are even worse. And there's one reason why spruce are not so popular, because in the old days we would kill a lot, because we were working too fast. We have learned on other trees, like on maples, on carpinus, of what to do, and we thought that we can do the same thing here, and the spruce dies, because you cannot, for example, do major styling and then repot at the same time. The tree will be dead. Okay, you cannot cut off too much, the tree will be dead. Okay, you can bend, but not too much. So be careful, but then leave him alone for as long as you dare, and then he will be happy. And a spruce that's happy and settled, you can then not kill anymore. This is a wonderful thing for me. Yeah. I have several hundred trees in a small garden. So I don't want to carry every tree to the greenhouse back and forth. The spruce are put on the ground and left there forever. I mean, I don't move them in winter. Yeah. I don't care. I don't water them a single time in winter. So this is wonderful for me. This has a good future, and what we learned is look for second-class material if you find it. That's one of my tricks. Not anymore, but for a long while I would go and visit the world and visit people everywhere. And in every big garden there's a corner where there's the leftovers, the dogs, the trees he's only keeping because they're still alive, and he hopes that they will die. This is the trees you grab, because not everyone, but some of these can be very good, and they're usually very cheap. Okay, so there you can try your things, and as Andrija said, the very strange trees and very difficult trees often will be the very best results, because they're unusual. If you can see from far away the future structure of the tree, that's not a big deal. Anybody can see that, and it will look like what? Like a normal bonsai. But if your tree is in the corner and nobody knows what to do with it, then it will be very special. And this is one of those. 30 years ago, nobody would have had 3 tops. And now we don't even blink. God, they crucified me for that 30 years ago. And now it's normal. So anyway, you don't have this problem anymore. This style is accepted. And I thank you very much. You did a good job here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.